good afternoon, everyone. Depending on where you're joining us, we know it could be morning, it could be afternoon, it could be evening. We are glad to have you here, and we are really, really excited to have you here today. My hope and my prayer is that you would glean but we're glad that you joined us, and I know I'm trusting that it will be worth your time, so we'll get right to it. I'm going to share my screen and show you our lineup for today. We're hoping that we're all going to have fun. We're all going to learn, whether you're a student, a child, a parent, a youth, or whoever you are, whatever category you fit into, there's something to learn, and I'm sure you will take something away. And of course, we would love to hear back from you after this session. So hang in there, grab your cup of tea, cup of coffee, or your water, and take a ride with us. Here's a quick lineup of what we have for you today. I'm going to be introducing the guest speaker, and after that, she would make the presentation. In the course of her presentation, please feel free to engage with us in the chat room if you have a question, a comment, and then we'll stop every now and then to take questions from the chat room. And then at the end, there would also be a dedicated time to take your questions, or for you to share your thoughts or your comments or your contributions. It's a myth-shattering book. I have read it. I think I've read it twice. I've given maybe 8 to 10 of these books out to graduating students, early career professionals. But really, every immigrant person should read this book, especially if you're immigrant. It says how 3 unlikely traits explain the rise and fall of cultural groups in America, and it pays particular attention to Africans, Asians, and like rising and making impact in America. You really want to grab a copy of this book. So everybody, I hope you're all set. I am set, and I know our guest speaker is set. So I'm going to introduce her, and she'll take it from there. She leads global infrastructure implementation projects by engaging internal stakeholders. She began her distinguished career in IT at the Goddard Space Flight Center, and she has held varied positions with the Department of the Navy, Penn State Applied Research Lab, AT&T, and Accenture. Her recent experience includes program and project management, development management, and solution architecture. One of her proudest moments was when she patented 2 software engineering development processes: method for rapid application lifecycle change request, and system and method for performing rapid application lifecycle quality assurance. She currently manages a team of program managers, business analysts, developers, and product owners. Her team is responsible for human capital management, legacy data, information lifecycle management, application reduction, timely, reliable, and secure delivery of data-driven reports and analytics. Along with her respectable qualifications, she holds certifications as a Scrum Master, a project manager, a software engineer, and software test engineer. She's also a member of the Northeast Penn State University Office of Outreach and Inclusion Executive Board, and the Functional Talent Scout for General Motors IT National Society of Black Engineers, NSBE. She's a proud parent of 1 daughter, Erica Glass. Now that's the formal bio. I want to add my own. Nicole is one of the managers that you really, you would look at her and you think, wow. Or she's the client to my organization. Just the GBA cube, our area, and she would say, oh, hello guys, how are you? If she has any information that she thinks it might be useful for you, she will share it with you. She would encourage you to share it with others. And then when I started volunteering to recruit within for the entire recruiting team. We normally would go to Black universities in the Atlanta area, and she has done a lot, at the official level, but she also started to help me with my daughter. As I started to help her with her daughter, she started to help me with my daughter, and then we'll bounce off ideas off of one another. Nice. So when she speaks here, the reason why I'm sharing this is because I really want you to understand that saying this, from a theoretical place. She's really hands-on. This is something she has done over and over again, mentoring people, recruiting, looking out even for our youth in the recruiting process. And the moment they get in, she's trying to help them to settle down. She's trying to help them to understand the no-nos, and that kind of stuff. So for me, it's a blessing, it's a joy to have her on this platform today, because when you see somebody who has done things practically hands-on, it's different from somebody who has read it and just wants to tell us what they have read. So I am excited to listen to her today, to share from her wealth of experience. And I know that you would have something to take away from here, no matter who you are. Don't come after me.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. It is a pleasure and an honor to be here. I don't know who that person is that Bola read the bio of. I really don't. All I know is I'm Erica's mom. That's it. Okay. And I'll tell you about her. She's an amazing young lady. But you bring tears to me. Thank you, Bola. I'm so humbled to be here. When I was asked to do this, when Bola came to me and said, "Hey, would you do this?" I was like, I don't know. And so I thought about it again, and I said, I kind of got to do this. And I called I referred to my daughter as my chief executive officer. So I reached out to her and I said, Erica, Miss Bola wants me to present to her resource group. And she immediately, Mom, you got to do it. You got to do it. You just got to do it. So, and I don't even know why I asked her. But anyway, I wanted to read this quote that I recently read. It says, God doesn't call a qualifier. He qualifies the caller. All right. Let's get started. I'm going to take you through my journey. I got married. I'm looking down at notes I have too. So just be patient with me. I got married back in, I believe, 2002. And I had my daughter Erica. And I had my daughter Erica. She's the only child. She does have and I had my daughter Erica. She's the only child in 2004. She does have half brothers and sisters. And then in about 2009 or 2010 or so, I got divorced. Okay. Now, getting divorced and having a child, particularly an infant, I was a single parent, very tired, working 10-hour plus days in IT. And those of you that are in IT, you know how that is. I would drop my daughter off at 6 a.m. and sometimes not pick her up until 6:30 p.m. Then I went through 2, maybe 3 layoffs. Okay. So that was very, devastating as well. So after going through a couple of layoffs, and then I was able to, during that time, I started setting some boundaries. And some of my because a lot of us, what we do is we travel an hour plus to work. And I said, no, I'm not doing that anymore. If the job isn't within a 10-mile radius, I'm not working there. I prayed about it and I said, no, I'm not doing that. And all activities that we would engage in, it had to be within a 10-mile radius because my time started becoming very important to me, right? And then I also denoted that whatever job that I would take, I couldn't travel. And you didn't need to know why I couldn't travel. I just could not travel. I became more God fearing. And one of the things that I noticed that when my daughter started elementary school in the nature of where I live is that there are a lot of stay-at-home moms. So they tend to be, on the PTA, very much engaged in the school. And that was something I couldn't do as a single, or I couldn't figure out how to do it. So I had to be creative and I had to think, like, what can I do to set myself apart so that I can also volunteer and be at the school, because it means a lot when your children see you. They see the other parents, but they don't see you. It's very important that we have a presence in their school system. So I started thinking, what can I do? What can I do? I said, I have my notary license. And one of the things that's what was very inconvenient for me is that at the start of school, particularly elementary and middle school, you have to show address verification for your particular school. And you have to, for me, I would always have to go to the bank or somewhere and get my forms notarized. I said, aha, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to send the principal an email and say, I volunteer to come on sneak peek night, like that day or night before school starts, to volunteer to notarize forms for the school. There was one parent in particular that looked like us that came up to me and she said, whose idea was this? This was great. Thank you so much. Because normally it's an inconvenience for me to take off of work to get these forms filled out. From that moment on, I always made sure that I volunteered to do note. The line would be long and it made my daughter feel good. It empowered her. It brought out those leadership skills. My mom is doing something here at the school. That's very important. The other thing is that I put my life on hold to a certain extent. Our children didn't ask to come here. So I said, either I'm going to pay now or I'm going to pay later. Which one is it going to be? So I invested in my child. I became the Brownie troop leader. And then I put her in all kinds of little activities through the rec, t-ball, soccer, cheerleading, volleyball, Camp All-American, equestrian, whatever. And it wasn't we have to make this investment. It wasn't very expensive at the rec level. And it also helped me to balance my life because when she was out running on the soccer field, I could do laps around the soccer. I made sure I exposed her to everything. Another thing that we did whenever, like in the summer, if we would go on a summer trip or if we went to go visit the family during breaks and all, I would make sure that what I call a drive-by, we would drive by colleges. We wouldn't necessarily do the college trip, like the whole tour of the campus, but I would say, hey, this is North Carolina A&T. This is UGA. We're riding by, or I'd say, let's just stop by, let's ride past so that you can see, so that when her kids at her school who normally don't look like her, when they're talking about UGA, she can engage in that conversation too, because she's been to UGA as well, which is very important. Oh my gosh. 8th grade, around 7th and 8th grade, that's when I made the investment. I started making the true investment. This is 7th grade. This is middle school. We got braces. So I made the $2,000 investment for a glow up. We're going to get some braces. Because that's very important. Our kids are out, they're interfacing with people, they're having conversations. And the first thing that you're looking at is my face, my mouth, my smile. So I invested in braces. I said, let's get them. She told me, she said, Mommy, I really want to get into this horseback riding thing. I really want to ride. Very expensive. And so she started playing polo, which one of my coworkers, little did I know, owned several polo horses, and asked her to come out and start playing with her. And she said, this is a lady, a white lady said to me, she said, she can probably get a free ride off of riding horses because you don't see a lot of young people that look like her in the equestrian world. And I said, this is very expensive. I can't afford this. She said, yes, you can. Figure it out. Well, I had to figure it out. And so she started playing polo, and then you'll see down at the bottom, she started becoming a competitive equestrian here in Georgia, if you're familiar with Wills Park. The other thing, so I made the investment into into a sport or an activity, as some would say. The other thing that I did is she told me that she was interested in going out of state to college or going away to college. Either, it could be here in state or out of state. She wanted to stay on somebody's campus. So I said, well, okay, if you want to do that, then I think we need to start looking into some overnight camps that would make sense for you. So that particular summer, we started looking into, I believe it was Penn State had a minority business camp because she said she was interested in business. So she said she didn't want to go into IT because she felt like I was always stressed. So that summer we applied, and we applied to many things, but we applied to Penn State's business camp and she didn't get in. We applied to a couple other business camps. She didn't get in, which one thing that your children are going to face a lot of is rejection. But the more they get used to it, better off they'll be. It won't hit so hard. So this summer we applied to a camp called Youth About Business. And I think the camp, if I believe so, the camp was about $1,500. It is the best investment that I ever made. The best. And I'll explain to you why. We went down, You Felt About Business is a minority business camp, and it's held, the first session is held at Emory. We went down to hear the interest meeting because I had never heard about it. It came up on my feed, my Facebook feed. And I think it's because she had applied to Penn State. So I went down and I told the sponsor, I said, hey, I said, this is the first time she's been away to camp. I'm not really feeling totally comfortable with this, but I want to try it out. And he said, well, he told me how much it costs. He said, but listen, I'll let you pay in installments. I told her I to come to Emory. And if she doesn't like 30 minutes, you have to do the other 2 weeks. I told her, I said, 30 minutes away. You call me. I got on 285. You call me if you don't feel comfortable. I told her, I got on 285. 30 minutes headed. She called. You call me. I don't feel comfortable. She called to hit 85. I got on 285. And I'm that mom. And I got on 285. I was headed, I guess, north on 285. I was headed home to hit 85. She calls, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I got to go back and get her. This is in 15 minutes, right? And I'm that mom. I will turn around and go get you. So I said, oh my God, she called already. So I answered, I said, hello, Mom, what's going on, Erica? I'm over at the gym. Why are you at the gym? You just got there. Oh, I met some girls and we went over to the gym. And guess what? Katie Sue is here, and Janie Louise is here. Well, who are these people? These are people I go to school with. Oh, but they don't look like me. Really? You mean to tell me the kids that are at the beach the whole summer, their parents are making an investment in them? Wow. Who would think? Don't be fooled, parents and students, that you see your friends posting pictures of them at the beach the entire summer. They're not at the beach. Their parents are making the investment that we want to make into you. Erica went to this camp. They taught her about mergers and acquisitions. All of these kids were CIOs for different companies, respective companies, and they were doing mergers and acquisitions. She went to that camp at Emory for a week, turned around, and they asked her to come back to their camp at Vanderbilt University for a week. Then they turned around and said, she's made it to the finals. We want to fly her up to New York for a week to work with Sony to explain to them how they created their merger and acquisition. And she stayed at the Hyatt on the Hudson. Then actually she stayed at the Hyatt on the Hudson for 1 week, and then she moved to Columbia University. This is why this is the best investment I ever made in my daughter from an academic standpoint. I paid $1,500 and she went 4 places. I didn't pay for the plane ticket within the $1,500, that included the plane ticket, airfare back and forth up to New York for her to stay at the Hyatt on the Hudson with one other young lady in her room. And she also stayed at Columbia University. She got exposed to 3 different universities within 4 or 5 weeks. Again, pay now or pay later. So I started to focus on my investment, my daughter Erica. So the pandemic, as you know, pandemic came in the summer of, or I guess like in March. So I started to focus on my investment, my daughter Erica. So the pandemic, as you know, pandemic came in the summer of, or I guess like in March of 2020. And she also said stayed
and
home.
we
We
just
just
stayed
stayed
home.
home.
And
We get her
the
school
day
ready.
don't say
We
anything about
started
that.
at
And he said,
so
so
what you think
and
about
we
early
come back
enrollment?
home.
We
He
were
said,
gone.
and
And
he
I
said,
said,
Aaron,
Aaron,
just stay here
Aaron,
late.
didn't
I
have
know
any
you had
pay
enough
to
to get.
get.
And
And
I
I
was
was
like,
like,
no,
now,
she really
so
didn't go
what
there.
you think
Why
about
you
applying
apply?
to the
Are you
SAT?
really
We
interested
stayed
in
home
going
and
there?
everything. We
Because
were
we
at
love to
home.
have
I
visitors.
really
No,
want
he
you to
said,
what does it take
maybe
to
our
get you
apply
in
to
these
take
programs?
this
I
thing.
really
That's
want
good.
you to get in
When
the
you apply,
program.
people
They
say
say
things
you
like
already
that
have the
because
ACT, but
he said,
I really want
because
you.
that's
I'm
what
gonna
he said.
promote
He
you. I
want
want
you
you
to
to
apply
increase.
and
And
apply.
we also
When
did
people
dual
say things
enrollment.
like that,
And
they
I
need to
really
really
want
go there.
you
He said, go
to
because
have
that's
more than
only
the
said.
SAT.
That's what
And
it is.
moving
When
right
people say
forward,
things like that, they
again,
need
my
to
brother
really
explained to me
now
what
we didn't go
applying
there.
means.
He said,
I really want you. He said, what does it take to get you here? That's what, when people say things like that, that needs to resonate because that's only said to athletes. What does it take to get you here? Now, we didn't go there, but we did SAT and we also did ACT, but we focused primarily on ACT. I think I paid for 2 or 3 courses. And she took the SAT, I mean, excuse me, the ACT. She took it about, I want to say 4 or 5 times to get her score better. But we start taking it in the summer going into her 10th grade year. So we made the early investment to get, and I'll tell you what she said to me. After she took it the first time, I think, she came out and she said, Mommy, now I understand why the Indian kids take this thing over and over again. And I said, mm-hmm. Exposure. Got to get used to test taking. And I said, mm-hmm. Exposure. Got to get used to test taking. Well, come to find out, he was preparing his daughter for college. And I didn't get upset with him for what he was doing because it was in my mind, it was the Lord showing me and getting me ready for what I needed to do for my daughter. I watched him go through that process with his daughter, which helped me go through the process with my daughter. He had his daughter in college prep classes. He had, or ACT classes, SAT classes. He had her in specialized math classes. And he shared this information with me, which hence helped me with my ACT prep, which hence helped me to, I put her in prep courses. I also had her take the exam several times, and people gave me books and things of that nature. And then moving down here to dual enrollment, I wouldn't say my daughter. She works very hard. She's not. She's very good at math, but she's not really a language arts young lady. And she admittedly says it, and I'm not either, right? So AP really wasn't her thing. She did it because, you have to be well balanced as you prepare for college. So she took some. But dual enrollment, when I tell you she rocked out dual enrollment, and again, this was during COVID. So COVID, all the classes were online and, virtual and things of that nature. But a little story behind why she did virtual. Well, I pushed her to do dual enrollment, but she was only going to do one class initially. And what happened was we were going to walk at the park one evening and she was having problems trying to figure out what class that she should enroll in. And so she has a friend. Got to keep your network. She has a friend, and the friend, her mom had she had gone through one child going through dual enrollment. So I said, Erica, call Amy. I need to know what Jolie's taking. Jolie is Erica's friend, and Amy is the mom, stay at home mom. And so got on the phone with Amy, and Amy says, well, Jolie's taking 3 classes. And she explains to me why she's taking these 3 classes. At the end of Erica's senior year, she had taken 36 credits, which we transferred. And I think she had nearly her, I believe, which we transferred. And I think she had nearly her, I believe her college GPA was either 3.9 or close to a 4.0. And then, of course, when you transfer in those dual enrollment classes into your high school, it boosts up your GPA. And one thing I must say is protect the GPA. I think she graduated with a 4.2 or something like that. So please look into dual enrollment. Oh, it's a valuable investment. We also did volunteer work. We did a lot of volunteer work. I don't have a lot, but I like to think I have a lot. Or no, I shouldn't even say that. Is that I have. I want to know how the doctors and lawyers doing these things with their children. So if they can do it, I can do it too. So I say that to say I have a very good friend who's a doctor. I've been seeing her for 20 years, over 20 years. She's an OBGYN, Dr. Yvette Smith. And every year I go to her for my annual exam, she always asks me, how's Erica doing? And I tell her. And then she tells me, she has triplets. She tells me, this is what the triplets are doing. They're doing A, B, C, and D. She has no problem sharing. Find people that are in your circle who have no problem sharing and listen. We don't always have to talk. It's best to listen sometimes. Yvette said, or Dr. Smith said to me, she said, there's this organization called National Charity League. She said it's an organization where moms and daughters do philanthropy work together, volunteer work together. And they have to have so many leadership hours and so many meeting credits and so many volunteer hours. I said, tell me more. She said, I really want to nominate Erica for it. I said, fine. I had no idea what this organization was, none whatsoever, but I was very open. It's another thing we have to be is open. And a lot of times as minorities, we're not as open because there's a fear. Sometimes we put up a wall, but you have to be open. They start bringing in the young ladies. They also have a young men's organization as well, and I can try to find that information out for you. But in any event, you can only get in from I think seventh to ninth grade, I believe, and I never understood that until we got to 10th grade because I told several of Erica's friends about this organization and wanted to nominate them, but no one was interested. We got to 10th grade, and you would not believe the number of people who reached out to me so that they could get their daughters into this organization. And it was too late because the aha moment is your child is going to college. You want them to look balanced. You want them to have volunteer hours, and they don't have any. Through the National Honor Society, she was able to get volunteer hours. Engaging. Create your own club at your school. One of the things that I've seen, you all are very aware of, is that in Mississippi, more recently, Jackson, Mississippi, they have a water crisis, right? And a lot of churches are taking water donations. I would think that a lot of our students, we have no problem spending 150 or $120 on Jordans, on sneakers. So why can't we spend $50 on a couple of cases of water and volunteer, take that to your local church or bring it to this organization to have it shipped down to Jackson, Mississippi. And, we're all proud parents. Our parents will take a picture of us. And now that's something we can talk about. That's an essay right there. A lot of times we dumb down what we do, and I'm very guilty of that. I'll take a moment that it could be very big and I'll make it seem very small, but we've got to build up what we do. And I'll give you another example of that is through my recruitment when I go to Morehouse, Clark, and Spelman. One of our questions we would ask as a part of interviewing is tell me about a club or organization that you created at your school or that you're involved in. If I ask a Clark University student that question, the narrative goes like this. Well, Miss Glass, we created a computer club but we lost our advisor and none of the students came to the meetings and we were supposed to compete in the national da 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 conference, but we didn't have our invention ready. That's their narrative. But if I go to Georgia State, and I asked the student the same thing. Well, Ms. Glass, we started the club. We lost our advisor, but we're about to get a new advisor. We're onboarding one, and we have our design ready. Now, we won't compete this year, but we're on target to compete next year. And we should be, when we bring in a freshman class, we're anticipating that we'll be able to increase our club membership from 100 to at least 250 people. Same story, different narrative. We've got to change the narrative of how we present things. And again, I'm guilty of that as well. But there are people on this call that are here to serve you, to help you with your narratives. These are friendly faces and they can help you. What getting into college looks like. I've talked about this, I've led up to this. It's not just your GPA. It is not. It's a combination of your GPA, your demonstrated interest. I want to be an engineer. I do a lot with Legos. I entered the national Lego contest and I won it. I tell you to write it, and then I proofread it, and I put my name on it. Okay. And then your test scores. Hence the reason why we took that ACT about 5 or 6 times. Okay. Like I said, create your own opportunities. What my daughter does, she attends Johns Creek High School, and she created the first ever Black Student Alliance club at her school. And this is her trifold that she put up. And let me just tell you about, we've got to, I say sweat, but we've got to lift our kids up. And what I mean by that is that my daughter came to me and she said, Mommy, I created this organization, but we didn't do anything. What do you mean you didn't do anything? So you secured a sponsor to provide meals. Then not only did she do that, then they put up posters during Black History Month, which was never ever done. So you also put posters up during Black History Month. You had people come in to speak to the student body. She also, and not just she, but the club, they also took up books, summer reading as well as holiday reading for a Title I school. And for those that don't know, a Title I school are those schools that are less privileged. They have a financial need. When you walk into the schools, and typically these schools, they provide free lunch to everyone that attends the school. So she and I told her about the school because General Motors, we sponsor the school as well, and I noticed that they do their Title I and they do free lunch. But what she did was she did the summer reading as well as the holiday reading. And let me explain to you what summer reading and holiday the spin on that is that I remember when I was a child, if someone would give, and we didn't have a lot, but if someone would give me a book, I would carry that book around with me, a new book, the whole summer. Okay. So what we did, and I told her, I said, these kids don't get new books. They don't even get books. So for you to give a new book to a student, that means a lot. Even if they can't read it, it means you're changing a life. You're truly changing a life. So your kids have to create their own. A lot of your kids play games, and they can set up a session at your church or some community center where they teach other people how to use those games, and highlight that. Take pictures of it and they're not going to want you to take pictures of them, but do it anyway. Out of that opportunity, the unintended consequences of volunteerism, positive outcomes for those who serve. What I mean by that is she created the Black Student Alliance at her school, and then she said she wanted to do a Black Lives Matters protest, and she did it on the anniversary of George Floyd's memorial. She did it at the busiest corner of Johns Creek. And how she went about is she called the principal at her school and told him that she wanted to hold a peaceful protest, and how should she go about it. The principal told her, Erica, well, she emailed him, I believe, and then he said, let's have a conference call. And he said, what you need to do is, first and foremost, you need to reach out to the chief of police and let them know that you want to have a peaceful protest. That was one thing. The second thing he told her, he said, come up with a 30-second sound bite because you will be interviewed. But my cousin had also told her the same thing. This protest offered so many opportunities to her. As a result of her posting about this protest, it went viral. And we had one of the state representatives, she came to join the protest. The mayor of Johns Creek, he came. These were all PR moments for these individuals. They didn't become because of Erica's protest. They came to represent, to show that, or to show that they cared about Black Lives Matters. We also had one of the city congressmen, he came, Brian Weaver, which later he ran for mayor, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that. But this is a picture of her with the state representative. And then here she's with one of the police officers, and she didn't want me to take pictures. She said, Mommy, this isn't a photo op moment, but for me it was. Um, and you've got to remember that your kids don't want you to take pictures, but take pictures, okay? Because later on, as they start to do their college process, pictures, that is capturing the moment, as well as this actually went into our local area newspaper. So we had a documented proof that she held this protest. So here,
Nicole,
yes.
let me quickly jump in there. We always need the proofs, and sometimes they don't understand it. It's all about, I don't want my mom putting my pictures up on her Facebook page or whatever. So I always explain to them, at some point in your life, you're going to need a proof that you did this or you did that. So I'm here gathering the proofs for you. That's how I explain it to them.
Thank you. Thank you. Bola, thank you. You couldn't explain. She did not. Erica did not want me to take pictures. And actually, this picture here, the Snapchat picture, I didn't take this. Someone else took it and sent it to me. And I think what I did is I actually sent this picture and this picture to our Johns Creek Herald newspaper and said, because they were running, this was in the hype of Black Lives Matter. So I was like, hey, I'm a bragging mom. I want you to post this. And they did it. I was shocked, but they did it. But thank you, Bola. Appreciate that. And then fast forward, as a result of her having a protest, a lady who runs she doesn't live here anymore, but she ran the Johns Creek United organization. I can't remember the other high school, but what they did was they did a cultural awareness moment for Black History Month. They put up posters all at their schools, which was never done before. They also created a weekly Quizlet, where they went out they sought sponsors within our community, and they would get, whoever won the Quizlet would get a $50 to $100. So, how to get started volunteering? Okay, find something that you're passionate about, or your child finds something that they're passionate about. Make it something that's fun, and then you want to find something that's easy, that's not too difficult, that's not going to take up a whole lot of your time, and you create your own opportunity. Like I said, create a club. We have the situation with the Waters in Jackson, Mississippi, and also they need clothes, they need baby products. Complete any training that's required for it. Begin with a limited commitment and be very professional, because these people that you're volunteering for you with, I guarantee you that you're going to need them to write you recommendation letters. And here, this Instagram post, remember when Erica did the Black Lives Matters protest, this gentleman here is where
always
she
used
went
for that
to
intended
Mimosa
purpose, but that's
Elementary
okay.
School, which is a
You
Title I
give
school,
out of your heart,
and
not because
she gave them
you
the
want them
books.
to use it
And
in
of
a
course, she got
particular
very
way.
disturbed with
Okay?
me because I took a picture,
Here
but I
is where
took the
she put
picture
up the
anyway.
posters again at her school,
And all of the
about
teachers were
Black
truly
historians,
impressed. And then
with the
here,
fact that
on your right
she
hand
brought
side,
now,
she's
and
volunteering.
I'll also say it
For
took us
the
a year to
Norfolk
get these
community
books over to
charities,
the
where
school,
we
but
hand
we
out
finally did it, and we took
baskets
a
twice a
picture,
year
and they
during
were very
maybe
happy.
do it
They were
during
very happy with us.
Easter,
There were
and we
teachers
also
there
doing it
that didn't
take
even,
hand them out
they
during the
had just
Christmas
started
holidays as
um,
well that year, and they didn't have anything to for their classroom, like books and
so the
supplies and stuff.
commitment
So this
again, I
added,
can't say it enough.
sometimes the
Either you're going to
intended
pay
purpose that
now
we
or
give
you're going to
things
pay
for
later. It's a
There are
time commitment.
always
It
use
takes
for
a
that
lot of
intended
time.
purpose, but that's
I mean,
okay.
I'm an empty
You give
nester
out of
now,
your
and
heart, not
I'm just like, what
because
do I do with
you want
myself?
them to use
Because
it.
every
Every
particular
Saturday
way.
morning,
Okay.
I was up at 8 and I
Here
had
is
to
where she
drop
put
off
up the
at 2 or 3
posters again at
places,
her
and then
school
I had to buy
about
specific
black
items, and
historians.
it was
And
a
then
lot. It was
here,
a
on
true.
your right
Every
hand
evening
side,
we
she's
had something that she
volunteering
had to be at,
for
something we
the
had to
North
do.
Fulton
But
Community
see, that
Charities,
time
where
commitment, the
we
better
hand
that your
out
children get better at
baskets
time and
twice a
managing
year
their
during.
time,
And then
these
we
are
do it
essential
during
life
Easter,
skills.
and we
You're
also
gonna have to do it
hand
sooner or
them out
later.
during the
So why
Christmas
not now?
holidays as well.
Then the academic investment, um,
So the commitment
academics, this
again,
is how
I
we
can't
measure
say it enough.
behaviors. And
Either you're
for
going to pay
myself,
now
when
or
I
you're going
look
to
at a
pay
student's
later. It's
resume,
a time
it takes
commitment.
me
It takes
any.
here is where she put up the posters again at her school about black historians. And then here on your right hand side, she's volunteering for the North Fulton Community Charities, where we hand out baskets twice a year during, I think we do it during Easter, and we also hand them out during the Christmas holidays as well. So the commitment again, I can't say it enough. Either you're going to pay now or you're going to pay later. It's a time commitment. It takes a lot of time. I mean, I'm an empty nester now, and I'm just like, what do I do with myself? Because every Saturday morning I was up at 8 and I had to drop off at 2 or 3 places, and then I had to buy specific items, and it was a lot. It was a true. Every evening we had something that she had to be at, something we had to do. But see, that time commitment, the better that your children get better at time and managing their time, these are essential life skills. You're going to have to do it sooner or later, so why not now? Academics, this is how we measure behaviors. And for myself, when I look at a student's resume, it takes me all of maybe 30 seconds to review a resume. And I can tell you pretty much what's going on with a particular student. And to give you an example, we look at resumes from historically black colleges. I remember distinctly one time I got a resume from a individual that attended Florida A&M, and I could tell that this person was on like a 6-7 year program, and I didn't see any type of internships, any type of work experience. Immediately I said, what went wrong here? What was this person was either partying in school or they're in the band. Something's going on. So I interviewed them and I was like, tell me about yourself real quickly. I need to know. Immediately they said, oh yeah, I'm still at Florida A&M because I'm in the band. And when you're in the band, you tend to be in school a little longer because you're so focused on the band, and et cetera, et cetera. But I'm gonna tell you, when I look at resumes or I look at academics, I can tell immediately what happened. And this is also the primary reason people go to college and into a corporate job, or corporate jobs, hire individuals from college, is they're trainable. And that's what academics proves to me, that you're trainable. I've made so many financial investments in my daughter, from camps to horseback riding to braces, a glow up. But the scholarship investment, in the end, you either pay it now or you pay it later. The reward in the end that you get from making these investments early on is worth it. Get a mentor or be a mentor, and not one mentor, several mentors. I have mentors for different things. You want to find somebody that's seasoned in the field that you're interested in, someone who has a good reputation, someone who's going to speak very highly of you and enjoy speaking and learning. There's someone that you enjoy speaking and learning from. Look for leaders, and then expand. And these mentors help expand your network. So mentoring is training, motivation, advice, success, direction, coaching, support, goals. In some way, I'm a mentor to everyone on this call, or Bola's a mentor to everyone on this call. You may not have direct access to me, it may be indirect, but I'm here to help, to guide. And then I'm learning a lot from your organization as well. It takes a village to raise a child. Earlier, when Bola was introducing me, she said that, she told me about her daughter, the things that she was doing. I told her about the things that Erica was doing. We gave each other advice on what to do. I couldn't do this all alone. Erica played soccer for her high school, and she had to be at soccer practice at 6 a.m. in the morning. I couldn't do that. I said, okay. What I started doing is, when I would pick the girls up, I would make sure I had a little Chick-fil-A snack. You gotta give to
We've
get.
got
You
you got
have
to
to.
give to
You
get.
know.
You have to.
It took a lot. I had a really one of the individuals from my village. I think she's. It took a lot. I had a really one of the individuals from my village. I think she's on here. Sherry Gaines. she was a part of my village. She gave me advice. She told me about scholarships. People on my job said, hey, make sure Erica applies for this. Make sure Erica applies for that. There was a time distinctly that I remember, I was doing a deployment on a Saturday, and my ex-husband had my daughter, but he said he couldn't watch her for the remainder of the day. And my team became my village. They said, drop her off, bring her in. She'll stay in here. One of the guys gave my daughter his Netflix account, and she watched movies while she laid on the floor. That's my village. They supported me. They helped me get to the next level. This is Erica Glass. She applied. Now, these are some of the schools that she applied to. Every one of these schools gave her money. Every single one of them gave her some money. And that just, and not only did she apply to these schools, I think she applied to the University of Arizona, Michigan State, Michigan University, and she got into every single one of them. She's made it something different than me, because I barely got, well, I went to a little small HBCU. You don't want to have any regrets with your children. You want to have no regrets. I told my daughter, she said, hey, should I apply for this? Should I apply for that? I said, we're applying for everything. Well, Mom, I have nothing to write. Send the thing you sent the last time. I don't care. Send them something. Because you'd be surprised how many opportunities are out there that people don't apply for. So, and they've got to give this money away to somebody. So why not be you? And I've showed you this picture here of her volunteering with National Charity League. And I'll tell you a little story. She got one scholarship from her school for volunteer. I think it was for about $2,000 for volunteering. And basically what she wrote about is when we go up to Cummings, Georgia, to pack up food for families in need. And most of the families have children, and they give you a little cue card to tell you, 3 kids, 2 adults, things of that nature. So you pack up food appropriate for 3 kids and 2 adults. Well, this particular Saturday, we went to go do it. We kept getting cards for families that had no children. It would be like 3 adults, 2 adults. And so she says, Mommy, she said, I thought everybody in need had children. To be honest with you, in my mind, a little bit, I was thinking that too. But this particular Saturday, none of the that families we had, they had children. And so I said, well, let's go ask the director to figure out what's going on here. And the director said, we have a lot of immigrants from Latin countries that are in need, and they send money back to their families, and they have labor jobs, and they just don't have enough money to hold them over. So we provide them with supplemental food. And it dawned on me. We got in the car, and I said, Erica, I said, your grandmother had a food insecurity as well, which is my mom. And the church and organizations would take food to her. Scholarship essay. And she wrote about that. She said the reason why she gives back is because she remembers her mom telling her about her grandmother had a food insecurity, and it is her responsibility to give back. She won $2,000. She won $2,000 there. A very expensive sport, but they offered a scholarship for $25,000 that she won. Pay now, pay later. Because of her riding, a lady noticed her at one of her shows and came over, and she kept smiling at me, and I was like, why is this lady smiling at me? We were about to go. It was a Sunday, and I was just like, let's go, because like you all, I want to get home early on Sunday because I got to prepare for my work day. I got to get mentally prepared. We probably got laundry and food. We got to cook and make lunches and all this good stuff. So this woman, she keeps there. So I said, well, okay, nice meeting you. Have a good weekend. She says, no, wait. I want to talk to you. And I'm like, your daughter is one of the few Black equestrians that I've seen. And I'm really impressed with her. I'd like for her to be a brand ambassador for our boots right here. I said, really? She said, yeah, we're going to have a photo shoot, and I'd like for her to come out and model some clothes for us. And as a result, we're going to give her a pair of our boots. She gave Erica a pair of boots as a result of her modeling for her. And not only did she give her the boots, but every time she wanted her boots to be shown, which was in, she wanted Erica to go out to Wellington, Florida, to showcase her boots for her for a week and work with a Olympian rider, which I don't recall his name. I'm really bad with names. So she sent us out there to do that, and sent us with two pairs of boots that were no less than maybe $3,000. And then when we got back, they sat in my garage for probably about 6 months, and I was like, "We gotta get these boots out of here," kind of thing. But anyway, the lady, she wrote Erica a letter to help her get the $25,000 scholarship, and the letter it brought tears to my eyes when I read the letter. It really did. Down here, Erica played flag football in her last year of high school. And a little story behind that is her ninth grade year. I think her ninth grade year, she played soccer for Johns Creek High School. She barely got played, so that became a scholarship essay too. How she pretty much set the bench, and how it built a lot of integrity in her, and not integrity, but it built her up. It made her. It took a lot to sit on the bench. But anyway, fast forward. She said, "Mommy, I don't want to play soccer anymore at Johns Creek High School because the girls are toxic. I don't want to do that anymore. And I really, I want to play a sport, but I don't want to play soccer anymore." So I said, "Oh, okay." Kind of hurt me because I wanted to play a sport, but I was like, okay, I supported it. And then her senior year, she came back and she said they have a flag football team. She said, "But the thing is that I probably won't get lettered because you gotta play the sport 3 years or something another, so you can get a letter." I'm tell you how God works, okay? They had their banquet. Guess who got a letter? A senior letter. Erica Glass got a senior letter. And not only did she get a senior letter, she also got a some kind of pin for being on the honor roll, or being in the honors program, and also playing a sport. We went to the award ceremony, and after, I said, "Look at this." I said, "These are things that you never expected to happen, you know?" And then here, this is they have, through her National Charity League, who she volunteers for, they have what they call a senior presents at the end of the year. And basically what that is basically their version of a cotillion, where they recognize their senior young ladies for the outstanding contributions they've done as far as community service. And you can tell there's no other girls that look like her, but she held her own. And story behind that is that Erica was nominated to be a Posse Scholar, POSSE. She did not get the Posse Scholarship, right? But she was nominated. It's a very rigorous interview process. It started the summer going into her senior year, and it didn't end until October. The Halloween, she was notified that she didn't get it, but she was a final. But we went to a career fair at her school, and the University of San Francisco was there. And she went over to each table, and I went behind her at each table. And she would introduce herself, and I say, "Tell them you're a Posse Scholar. Tell them," because they also told us to tell, when we were on some of these Posse calls, and she wouldn't tell them. So I told I was like, "And she's a Posse Scholar, because who's going to brag about your kids if you don't? Okay? Nobody." Uh, and so the University of San Francisco, I told the lady, I said, "And she's a Posse Scholar." She turned Erica around. She said, "If you don't get the Posse, we want you." She said, we'll bring you for a full ride. Well, I paid the lady no attention after. I didn't. Erica didn't either. But they kept knocking at our door. Each week, they would send her either a letter, an email, a text, something. They sweated her like she was an athlete. And that's what we need to happen for our kids. Sweat them like they're jewels. So I am the proud mom of University of San Francisco college student. Here's my baby here, Erica. These are 10 of the 11 scholars who got the full ride to the University of San Francisco. They're from different places. This young man here, he's from Chicago. This young lady here, this is her roommate. She's from Dallas. When I went down to, for the first week of school to get her all not enrolled, but when you drive them down, or we flew down to school, and they had a candle lighting ceremony. They did not. So here's the other thing too. The first week of school to get her all not enrolled, but when you drive them down, or we flew down to school, and they had a candle lighting ceremony. They did not. So here's the other thing too. A lot of the parents, they were saying, "Oh my God, this is really nice. They really did a good job. They really exceeded my expectations." They didn't exceed my expectations. This is what I expect. Okay. And I was hoping that they would deliver. I was so hoping that they would give me what I was looking for. But she's living her very best life. Even though she's on a full ride, I'm still paying money. I'm still spending a couple of $100s on her a month. It does not end. It continues. You have to remember that we do all these wonderful things for our kids. We put them in, and I'm going to use Bola for example. Bola's daughter, she went to boarding school, right? And I remember, and Bola, I got to share this. I remember I'm also a member of a sorority, right? And I know that there some thoughts about sororities and fraternity. I also look at it as building your brand. Okay. So Bola came to me. She said, my daughter, she wants to pledge your sorority. And I'm not really for this. And the first thing I told Bola, I said, you put her in a boarding school. You've given her the best education. You've sent her to the best schools. She is cream of the crop. She wants to be elite. She is elitist. All of these are elitist things. You can't stop her now. Yeah, it may be a little bit against your culture, but these kids aren't our generation. This is a totally different generation. Totally different.
And that's how Nicole dragged me to the sorority pledge.
I am going to stop sharing because I want to send this video.
Not apologize for it. Wedding my daughter. Listen, she got a performance somewhere. I'm there. She want to wear something. We buying it. She want to go somewhere. We going. She got an idea that needs my support. We finna do it. I sweat her. I saw a tweet that said, I sweat my daughter so hard because I want her to know that she's got a woman in her corner that loves her to the bones. And let me tell you something, I love my daughter to the bones. I love to stank off my daughter, okay? Because I know what the world will be like for my daughter. And let me tell you something, I want her to be able to show up in the world and know I got a mama that don't play when it comes to me. So I sweat my daughter. And you know what? You should probably sweat yours.
Okay.
That is me. I sweat my daughter. That is me. I don't spoil her, but I sweat her. And it makes me feel so good. She called me the other day and she said, something was going on at school. They don't want Nicole to call. They really don't. She said, because Nicole ain't gonna play. If Nicole got a call here, I said, Erica, you need me to come? She said, oh, no. I got it. So bring the questions. Let's talk.
Thank you so much, Nicole. And when she says I sweat my daughter, I just want to clarify something. It doesn't mean that, we just let them,
do whatever
right. They want. It's still within the boundaries that we set for them, within the boundaries of our values. And it's important to stress that, yes, we sweat them within the boundaries that we have set for them and for ourselves, because, it doesn't mean that in order to be successful, then you just have to let them do whatever they want to do. As a parent, you still have to, put the guardrails around them, because without guardrails, it will probably not be a success. It will be a disaster if you let these kids leave them to themselves. But thank you very much, Nicole. I appreciate your sharing and being vulnerable, sharing the things that didn't work, the things that you applied for that, Erica didn't get, and, a little bit of your own story. We need to share these things with one another so we can support one another. So other parents can see, that it doesn't always have to be rosy, but we have to just stick with it. We have to, map out the journey, be on that journey with our children. Don't be an absentee parent. Don't be laid back. What will be, will be. This country is not a what will be country. We have come here, and even in other countries, this generation, this age that we are living in, is not about what will be. You have to set out to achieve stuff.
So we do have a question.
Look into one of the things I looked into, I came to know about was the National Charity League. But even before we did the National Charity League, like your local library, there are times they look for people to sell books. So you can start with that. You can volunteer at your church to do different things. You can create your own volunteer opportunity, again, like with the waters for or giving clothes. For example, once or twice a year we go through all of the clothing in the house and we figure out what we can't wear and what we can wear, and we pack that up and we take it to North Fulton Community Charities, and while we're there we ask about volunteer opportunities there. There's, let me see, your youth centers, your rec centers, they have volunteer opportunities. There's one, I recently joined the NAACP, and we don't have a very active youth group yet, but it is about to become very active. That's a volunteer opportunity there. Look online for different volunteer opportunities. We also, one of the things we did too was, I think it's called CARE, and it's children with childhood cancer. And they did do a big thing in Atlanta over the summer. I think it's in April, and it's all day long. There are opportunities to volunteer. They're numerous. Just look online, Google volunteer opportunities, and you don't have to be there all day. You maybe want to go for an hour or so, but you're building up your portfolio for volunteer work.
Thank you.
How do I start volunteering without having trouble with my educational studies?
So that balance, you're not able to volunteer. You have to find something that you can do minimal time. So one of the things I think about, right, if you're having problems with your educational studies, you probably have like a tutor, or you may have a tutor, or you may have to go to a library or something like that. You can create an opportunity in a library where you can volunteer while you're there studying. Hey, can I shelve some books for you? You have to, a part of moving or becoming an adult or moving on to the next step in your life is learning balance. What balances you out? And you know what? That's a good question. Let me, there's another thing that I learned through life lessons. At one point in my life, I had exposure to an athlete. And so I've been around athletes in some capacity, in some form or fashion in my life. And one of the things that I noticed about athletes, about entertainers, is that they make an appearance at an event. They don't stay at the event. They make an appearance. So if the social is from 9 until 12, they come from 9:30 to, and then they're at home and they're doing other things. They're not there. So, and that's balance. It's called balance. And a lot of times, if you're at the one of the things I found is if you're at the activity, you socializing too much, you're probably doing something you shouldn't be doing. So I would say in summary, we don't have to be at everything. We don't have to attend everything. You have to create balance. There's some fun things that I could have done today too. This is fun and this is growing my brand, but there's some other things that I could have done that might have been more, attractive or what, but I'm investing in myself, and I know that this is going to help with my investment. So I decided to do this, and then the rest of the day I will probably exercise and work, which I don't want to do, but that's like studying. To me, I have to work because I want to move to the next level. So I'm not able to do as many fun things that I want to do. But again, pay now or pay later.
Thank you. And I want to quickly add that, many times when you have those big events where you can volunteer, they have shifts. Like when I go for recruiting, we have shift 1, shift 2, shift 3. When Nicole and I go, we go to America's Mat downtown. Sometimes we even have 4 shifts. And you come in, do the shift that you can work. You don't have to, if it's a 6-hour event, nobody expects you to stay 6 hours. If you can, please do. But go there for 1 hour and get proof that you are there. I always take pictures. My pictures don't lie. So I'm going to get somebody to take me a picture that I was there. I was doing this, I was doing that. I'm going to get somebody to sign something for me. Whatever, I have proof. I came in here 1 hour, I put in the 1 hour and I go. And you can do that even in church. For those of you who volunteer in church, document it. Or maybe the church is having cleaning the premises and things like that. If it's only 1 hour you can do, that 1 hour is something. And please, one thing that I don't want to forget, let's log your volunteer hours. There are sheets online that you can use. log your volunteer hours, get the person in charge to sign off on it that Bola was here, Bola logged, Bola helped us for 1 hour or whatever, and get this. Because there are some organizations or some colleges that will require a log of your volunteer hours. So start where you're comfortable. If it's 5 minutes or if it's 30 minutes, if it's 1 hour that you can do, it all adds up. So again, balance.
And another thing you said, Bola, is like when we do go to volunteer, you don't always have to be physically at the event. A lot of activities, I'll say, hey, I can't actually participate in the activity, but I can come after and help clean up, or I can help set up, but I have to leave before it starts, or I can help get the recruiting materials together, and I'll drop them off at this designation. That's all a part of volunteering. The prep work is also volunteering as well.
How do you motivate your children to discover themselves, to engage in initiatives and activities that will help structure themselves in today's world?
Oh, that's a very good question. I mean, a lot of us as parents, we see what motivates them. We just don't, it's just not traditionally things that we're used to. Like, right now, I'll use gaming as an example. Some of our kids, they want to play games all day long. 24/7, right? And that's the thing we don't want them to do, and we're like, oh, you're not going to get anywhere, playing games. Well, I know some people who write games who make $500,000 a year, but that's not to say that let your kids play games all day, but we've got to, okay, so the other parents, the European parents, what they tell their children, they said, we're going to give you a year or 2 years to figure out, go after what you want to do, your talent, supposable talent. We give you 2 years, and after that, we cut you off, or either you got to go to college. Maybe we need to start changing our mind, our mindset a little bit to say, stretch it. Now, I'll speak to my family. I have a cousin. He's we're same age, both adults. And I remember clearly in the 80s where he wanted to be a DJ. He wanted to go to college to be a DJ. He wanted to go to a trade school to be a DJ. DJ? What's a DJ? Here we are 30 years later. Just think what his life could have been if we had supported what he wanted. And what he wanted to. Here we are 30 years later, if we had supported what he wanted and what he wanted to do, and a lot of our kids. So you have to support your kids where they are. And I'll tell you, but when she left home, I told her, I said, hey, I'm extremely pleased with Erica. Who gets to go to college in California? But when she left home, I told her, I said, hey, just there for a year. I really don't. Who gets to go to college? I said, who gets to go to college in California? I don't care if you're just there for a year. I really don't. You got an opportunity that a lot of people won't get. And then I also told her, I said, we gotta be a little bit more flexible.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I just wanted to say something regarding that question. I think as parents as well, what we do around our kids also matters a lot, because they see what we do over time and also what we talk to them about. Like recently we moved to another state, and in that state, our fifth grader, they already picked them from last year, and there was something they did at their school just a few weeks ago. It's called the mentorship program. So they selected them, they went through the application process, they went through the interview process. And when she brought her application home, when she showed it to me, she wrote down something that I was trying to guide her. But she said, no, mommy, I got this. I let me just do my own thing. So she did it herself. Afterwards, she went through the interview process. She didn't even tell me when she was going to do the interview. She just brought the letter home. She said, oh, they told me to open this with my parents, and she got selected as a mentor in our school to be mentoring kindergartners and I think first graders. So I think what we do around them matters a lot, and also what we talk to them about, because I keep educating them about all these things, how it's going to help them in their journey, their leadership, and all those stuff. So I think as parents, what we teach our kids to do and what we also do in their presence goes a long way.
Thank you, G Banks.
How are volunteering hours calculated for college essays or applications?
Okay, I think I should quickly add that because I think they are similar. There's one here that somebody messaged me and I just posted. Are church volunteer hours dismissed as less important or less valued by colleges? What volunteer services gets you better recognition? So, Nico, can you take all together?
Yeah, you're the smartest, but do you really care about people? But
Can you
again, I think I answered
socialize with other
they're
people?
all the same. But
Now,
again,
what I
I think
would
I
do
answered
is
they're
if
all
you
the
were
same.
volunteering
Now,
at
what
the
I
church,
would
I would
do
try
is
to
if
line
you were
item out
volunteering at
what
the
it
church,
was.
I
Like
would
if you
try to
say, for
line
example,
item out
you were
what it was. Like
collecting
if you say, for
canned goods at
example,
the church, I would.
but again, I think I answered they're all the same. Now, what I would do is if you were volunteering at the church, I would try to line item out what it was. Like if you say, for example, you were collecting canned goods at the church, I would say, okay, collecting canned goods 10 hours. If you were, I don't know, collecting toys for tots or something at your church, I would note what those line items are to separate them out so that they just aren't lump summed as volunteered as at the church 50 hours.
Thank you. Okay, so this one says, who are the best people to get a recommendation from? But you wanted to say something, Nicole. Go ahead.
The people that usually the organizer of that event or their assistant, organizers, assistants, or people who are leading the event is who you get the letters from. And I try to pick I try to pick the leaders that are driving the events. And generally people want to give letters of recommendation. In my opinion, from what I've seen, they want to, especially leaders.
That's true. Very true. Everybody wants to associate with success. So if they
There we
see
go.
something good in your child or yourself, they want to associate with you.
I think it said, does my mentor need to look like me?
Like me.
You know what? So let me. You know what? So let me. I have a white guy at work. I've been saying this ever since she told me this. He is the individual. I have a mentor. He doesn't look like I've been saying this. He is the individual. Yeah, he is the individual. Yeah, she actually did. And this is I've been saying this ever since she taught me this. This white man doesn't look like me. He doesn't boast or brag or anything. He's the person that I can call just about any time, adjust my crown without anybody knowing it. And I have several mentors. Bola's one of my mentors. And I have several mentors. Bola's one of my mentors. And all of you on this call know someone who knows. And all of you on this call know someone who knows. And so I start making phone calls, or I'll start IMing, and I'm like, hey, do you know anything about such and such and such? Do you know anything about such and such? And so I start making phone calls, or I'll start IMing, and I'm like, hey, do you know anything about such and such and such and such? They help you confirm what you really need to be doing.
They have a
Because they'll say, oh, that's. They want to boast and brag to say that they helped you, even though they may not have helped you that much. But it's okay.
That's true.
How do you motivate? We may have answered it, but I'm just going to ask, how do you motivate your children to discover themselves?
So exposure. I never used. One of the things that our European friends do is they enroll their kids in every sport, every activity in the world, right? And I'm like, oh my God, why are you doing that? That's a waste of money. Oh, I so understand and get that now. I so. And they meet friends, and it expands your network.
How do you get comfortable talking with your parents about plans and passions for your future?
Oh, that's a good one too. I wasn't always open to some of the stuff that Erica wanted to do. I wasn't. And I think the lady, she spoke, Brooks, L. Brooks, I think think it was, is that you fill out the application yourself. You submit it. Tell them you're interested. You submit the application. You go to say, this is what I want to do, and have them sign. When you take initiative, you'd be surprised how people buy in. They're like, oh, wow, they're really serious about this.
Yes. And sometimes I think for the children especially, you may just have to demonstrate to your parent that you're serious, because sometimes some of you have these big and bogus things that you want to do, but you really don't have a plan. So, okay, I want to do this. That's what I did with my children. If they come up with something, I ask them, okay, what do you think? What have you discovered? What do you need to do? What are the requirements? How can I support? So basically, I'm letting you own it. And then I will now say, okay, I'm willing to support you. And if I say, okay, if it's something that requires money, I'll be like, okay, what kind of sacrifices do you think we have to make? So it's not all volunteering cost money. Just so it's not all volunteering spend the time. Some of them show up and spend money to do some initial things to get there. You have to spend money. So this is where your parents come in, but you have to do your research. So this is where your parents come in, but you have to do your research. You're really serious about it. Show to your parents that you're really serious about it. It's not something that tell my kids in those days. 2 weeks and then back out. You will do for 2 weeks and then back out. Are you going to do this for a month? You have to count the cost. Are you going to do this for a month? I always try to get them to commit to something per semester. I always try to get them to commit to something per semester. And then if you want to take it further, yes. But you have to demonstrate. And then if you want to take it further, yes. But you have to demonstrate what kind of work, what kind of effort would you need to put in for those plans and passions. So yes, you have to get comfortable by showing your parents that you know what you're talking about, that you know what this is likely to entail, even if you don't have all the picture. You have to get comfortable by showing your parents that you know what you're talking about, that you know what this is likely to entail, even if you don't have all the picture. You have to own it. That's what I see.
You got to be committed. You have to be committed. Because we examples, we did activities. Erica wanted to do things, and again, I'm a single working parent, so when I would get home from work, and if the activity started at 6 o'clock, I get home at 5:30. If she wasn't ready when I get home, we weren't going, because you're not committed. So you got to show your parents you're committed. Some of these activities you can walk to, you can catch you can ride a bike to. If you're really serious about it, you'll make it happen.
And you have to drive it. Your mom or your dad is supposed to support you, but you have to show the drive that I've got this, I'm ready for this. Not that the thing is 6 o'clock and you're not ready at 10 minutes to 6. And then you want to start shouting at your mom or your dad. No, it won't work.
No.
You have to show the level of commitment that would also now encourage your parent to support you.
Yeah, that was very difficult for me. So I kind of did put my life on hold. So from a career standpoint, during that time, like raising Erica and ensuring, the glow up, or just making sure she was college ready, I did put my career on hold quite a bit, and I had to, because there are times where there was a need for me to travel, and I couldn't travel. I had no one to watch her, so I had to. You do. If you have a support system, it's less pressure on you. Mine was minimal. Like I did have a village, and I had a very good village, right? But there, I didn't really have anyone who could stay with her for several nights while I traveled, kind of thing. To a certain extent. But again, that's a part of that pay now or pay later, because either, you help them to be college ready, or you wait until they're a senior and you start applying for colleges, and she gets into Harvard, and you pay that $70,000 a year.
Yeah, right. So yeah.
Yeah. I knew I couldn't afford that. And the other thing too is, one of the things I couldn't afford, because of her riding, her horseback riding, I couldn't put money into her 529 plan like I should have. But I had to talk with her, and I said, hey, listen, either we put money in your 529 plan, which is, a college savings account, or, you can do the competitive riding now, but you got to take it seriously, because this is going to be how you get into college. Now, she did get scholarships to ride, like equestrian scholarships, a full ride to Delaware State, but we didn't take that. We took the scholarship that the school at Kane, had better I'm not saying it's a good thing to do or a bad thing to do, but if you look at a lot of the athletes, their parents, like with the AAU, which is that club sport for basketball and football, they invest heavily into that, and their eye is on the prize that their kids will get scholarships to a Division I, Division II, or Division III school.
So you have to have a game plan. That's it.
You gotta have. That's it.
What you want to do, you have to find opportunities that are aligned with that, and then focus on it and go that way. If your child is an athlete, you want to find opportunities in that area, whether it's volunteering, whether it's getting them a mentor in that area. So you have to have a game plan and work towards it.
You have to network too. I was on a lot of calls. Like the other night, I joined a call for the United Negro College Fund to
Oh,
talk
okay. Yes,
about.
yes.
Yeah, I got on their call because they had a. I think Erica had signed up for scholarship through United Negro College Fund, and I knew she wasn't going to join the call, and so I joined the call. I told her to send me the email, and that's another thing we got to do as parents too. Our kids have so much going on and they don't know how to multitask. It's very, and we don't even multitask, to be honest with you. But as seniors or in high school, they've got a whole lot on their plate. So we've got to help them balance their plate. So she had to call, and I knew she wasn't going to go because she's living her very best life out in San Francisco. So, so I told her to forward it to me, and I joined the call to listen to the scholarships and stuff. You know, and that kind of takes me back to I have a very good friend who's a school teacher in South Carolina, in Florence, South Carolina. She's a math teacher. And I was telling her one time, I was like, yeah, Erica's got this and she's got that and she's got that, da da da. And she said to me, she goes, well, you got to help her with some of that stuff. You can't expect her to do all of that. You need to help her. She said, the Caucasian parents, they help their kids. They even do their assignments for them. And I was like, really? She said, you have to make sure she knows how to do it, but you can help her balance it.
Mm-hmm.
And from then on, last night, she told my daughter called. She said, I got to go on this leadership retreat, but I've got all this reading to do for this language arts class. And remember, I told you she's not the language arts type guru. She's more of a STEM person. And I asked, the first thing I said, is there anything I can help you with? How can I help? Send me a text and tell me what you need me to do. She said, Mommy, I got to do some reading. Is it something I can read? And I'm not saying I'm saying help your kids. You may not think that the other people are helping them. They're helping them.
They
Trust
are.
me, they're helping them. There are jobs that are posted already for internships at GM
Yes.
right now, ready to go. Then fast forward, we get mad in
January.
March.
Oh.
Yeah, in January, March, that we didn't get the internship. It's been posted ever since August.
And
How
people
can
are
you get
taking it.
upset?
People have applied and already been listed for it.
Right.
So
Our Caucasian friends,
too late.
yeah. Our Caucasian friends, they've already told their kids about it. We've told ours, but they've really told their kids because they've been a part of the process from beginning to end. So they've told their kids about it, and they make sure Billy applies when he comes home for Thanksgiving. And then when in January, Billy already has a job at GM this summer because he applied back at Thanksgiving. Where our kids, Erica, she's going to wait until March to apply when there are no more left. They're all gone. And then we say, well, we didn't have the same opportunity and we didn't know. You know now. Take advantage of it.
Yes, now. Thank you, Nicole. Any other question? I'm reading through the chat to see if I find anything. If you find something that hasn't been answered,
I have a question here.
Okay, go ahead.
It says, should you volunteer based on interest or explore a range of various fields?
Both. Do interest, and if it's various fields as well. If there's something that you're kind of interested in, explore it. You may want to, say, for example, there's a hospital close to your house. You're not really interested in being a doctor or anything, but maybe volunteering there may strike your interest in the medical field. I would do both. I tell you, through that National Charity League, I've been to some events that have been fabulous. When I tell you fabulous, and the opportunities. So we volunteered for this one thing up at the Avalon Hotel. It was some kind of auction or something they had. And they wanted us to help with the auction. It had this guy, his son is handicapped and he opened up the school and it was a lot of money, all this other stuff, right? And as a result, he owned some horses. And he was so impressed with me and Erica, the amount of money that we were able to raise at his little event, that he invited us out to his stable to ride his horses. I would say do any and everything that you can. Then fast forward, we get mad in
January.
In March. Yeah, in January, March, that we didn't get the internship. It's been posted ever since August.
And
how can you get upset?
People have applied and already been listed for it.
Right. So our Caucasian friends. Yeah. Our Caucasian friends, they've already told their kids about it. We've told ours, but they've really told their kids because they've been a part of the process from beginning to end. So they've told their kids about it, and they make sure Billy applies when he comes home for Thanksgiving. Where our kids, Erica, she's gonna wait until March to apply when there are no more left. They're all gone. And then we say, well, we didn't have the same opportunity and we didn't know. You know now.
Oh,
I have a question here.
okay, go ahead.
It says, should you volunteer based on interest or explore a range of various fields?
Both. There's a hospital close to your house. You're not really interested in being a doctor or anything, but maybe volunteering there may strike your interest in the medical field. I would do both. I tell you, through that National Charity League, I've been to some events that have been fabulous. When I tell you fabulous, oh my, and the opportunities. So we volunteered for this one thing up at at the Avalon Hotel. It was some kind of auction or something they had. And they wanted us to help with the auction. It had this guy, he owns this, his son is handicapped and he opened up the school and it's a lot, it was a lot of money, all this other stuff, right? And as a result, he owns some horses. And he was so impressed with me and Erica, the amount of money that we were able to raise at his little event, that he invited us out to his stable to ride his horses. I would say do any and everything that you can do. The exposure is phenomenal through volunteering.
Okay, I see one question. That'll probably be the last, and then I'll ask you for your closing thoughts. The question is, as an athlete, how do you get your name out there and get exposure for your career?
Is this a student asking this question?
I think so.
Come off mute. Let's talk. What do you play? What sport do you play?
Basketball?
You play Oh, okay. You play basketball. What grade are you in?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Good. What you play basketball? And what grade are you in? You're a senior. Did you play AAU?
2 summers ago before COVID, or the year COVID hit.
Okay. So are you? I mean, how do you? Are you trying to go to HBCU? Are you going D1, D2, D3?
I'm thinking of going to D2 and D1 colleges.
Do you have video?
Yes, ma'am.
Because you got to post it. Now you know this better than I do, Q. But you got to post it on those basketball sites so people can see it. The recruiters go to those sites.
NCAA.
Not those,
and
but
NCSA.
The scouting site where they scout, right?
Yeah, the
the
National College
scouts.
Student Athletes site.
Yeah, you got to put it out there. You got to start putting your video out there, and you got to start. One of the things that we did, so our sport isn't as attractive as your sport, right? So for my daughter's equestrian career, we start sending, and she did this late in the game, and you're a little late too, and you're late, but it's okay. We're gonna work this through. She started sending video. A letter. She sent letters to the colleges and she sent video. So you're going to have to craft up a standard letter, and start sending it to colleges, and also create a YouTube channel with all your video on it. And you'll start getting bites. It's just that you're late in the game. Hopefully your academics are on par, and that'll make you more attractive too. Are you on your school's basketball team?
No, because we just moved states, but I am planning on trying out for next month.
Okay, so when you try out, try to be your coach's best friend, and then or your assistant coach's best friend, and also if there's any, try to get back into a club team as well to get you some more exposure.
Yes, ma'am.
Because a lot of those club teams, the sponsors of those club teams are professionals.
I'm in Maryland.
Oh, you're in the Maryland, Washington, D.C. area. Yeah, that's what. Are you PG County?
Frederick.
Oh,
No,
oh, you're in the Maryland, Washington, D.C. area. Oh,
no, I'm in
Frederick.
Frederick.
Okay. A very good a young man that my daughter went to the prom with. He's from Maryland. He flew here to take her to the prom. That's a whole nother story. Next time y'all ask me to speak. But anyway, he is now at Penn State at one of the branch campuses playing basketball. He didn't get a complete full ride, but it's close. I think they're paying probably 75% for his education. But from Penn State and the branch campus, that's good. So if I were you, I would go after branch campuses like the Penn State and some like, I think Chapel Hill. They have some branch campuses too. They have basketball teams. I would look at some of those. I only know this little bit of stuff because I just went through this process. But you got to be intentional about this. And because you're late, you really got to be intentional. You really got to be intentional.
Yes, ma'am.
And
Thank
if
you
you
for
want to
speaking up.
connect,
I appreciate that. You deserve a prize for coming off of mute and speaking up, because I
mhm.
know that was hard.
And if you would like to connect with Miss Nicole, sometimes later you can reach out to me and I'll connect you.
Yep.
My email is there, parentinginitiatives@gmail.com. And I'm saying that to everybody here, whether for yourself or for your child, if you would like some help, like maybe advice or just pick somebody's brain to see whether you're on the right path, or maybe you don't even know where to start. We're here for you. Send me an email or send me a text message. I'm putting my phone number on there. We are here for you. We're glad to be a part of your community. We need to do this for one another. Like Nicole told me, and I think we said this in the conversation, and then I found something online that I shared with her. We don't tell our stories very well, either as adults or as children. We do a lot, but we don't give ourselves credit for it, and we don't even know how to make a narrative, create a good narrative out of it. This is something we need to start working on, because a lot of our children are doing well, excellently, but the packaging is not good. The packaging is not good enough. The packaging is not competitive. We need to get help. Get help writing your story. Get help writing your child's story, so that when it stands out there, it is catchy. It is impressive. It resonates with someone. We can't say this enough.
Support your children. Brag about your children. Because if you're not bragging about them, if you're not supporting them, the streets will support them. Other people will brag about, and you want to create the narrative for your child. I used to, because if you're not bragging about them, if you're not supporting them, the streets will support them. I used to get a little bit offended when people would say, "Oh, you're a good mom. You're a good mom," and I still kind of, I don't know. It's kind of like the whole thing around, this thing where Black women are supposed to be strong, or they're strong, and I just did what I thought I was supposed to be doing. Everything that I did, I thought I was, or either I did it because the nature of my environment, or I wanted my daughter to have more than what I had. And again, like that video, I know what the world will be like for her. And I needed her to know that she had a strong person in her back corner.
For taking the time to share with us today.
It's an honor.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Drum roll, please. I am so excited. And let's connect. Let's connect. Give us your email address, give us your phone number, connect on our social media, connect with us on social media, and watch our social media handles. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, on IG. And then, here comes the game. I'm going to go to Kahoot now, and I will launch the Kahoot, and then we can start the game. And whoever wins, there's this book. The book is called Triple Package. If you didn't join on time, I already mentioned and spoke about the book. If you don't win it, I'll suggest you buy it. You and your child should read this book. It's awesome. So I'm going to go to the games now. Let me stop sharing. Again, mark your calendars. It's November 12, 2022. Miss Nicole Glass is going to be at that 10th anniversary. She's going to be one of our facilitators. We have professors and lecturers coming from Kennesaw State University. If you're a student, you need to be at that event. If you're a parent, you need to be there as well. We're going to have breakout sessions for parents, for high school students, for college students, and early career. If your child is out of college, maybe in the last 3-4 years, we're trying to build a platform where our children can connect, and where people like Miss Adeshui and Miss Glass can mentor them and myself with all of our other colleagues. Again, thank you everyone for joining us. I hope you had a nice time. Please follow us on social media, recommend us to your friends, watch out for information about our anniversary. It's November 12th. That's our next event. We don't have an event in October. We want to focus on preparing for that anniversary. Again, Miss Nicole, I really, really appreciate you being here today, sharing from your mind, telling us your story. I'm going to come after you. You have to be here more often. And of course, we'll see you at the anniversary. Thank you, everybody. We are glad you joined us. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and go volunteer somewhere, mentor somebody, and get a mentor. Don't,